My life was ordinary, predictable, safe. High school, friends, family dinners, the usual routine. I never expected anything extraordinary to happen. I was wrong. Wayne, Pennsylvania, my town, quiet streets, familiar faces, a place where nothing much ever happened. Until Patrick. Little did I know a storm was brewing, a storm in the form of a boy named Patrick. He was an outsider, Patrick, always on the fringes of our high school social circles, unkempt, with a vacant stare that sent shivers down your spine. He carried a baseball bat everywhere. He's harmless, people said. But I felt a chill whenever he was near, a sense of wrongness that I couldn't shake. One day, he approached our group. "I'm adopting you into my circle," he declared, his voice flat, emotionless. "For your own safety." We laughed it off then. We wouldn't be laughing for long. We were at the baseball field talking about Patrick. Johnny, my best friend, scoffed. "He's just a creep, not a magician." He pointed to the chain-link fence surrounding the field. "Watch, he'll make this fence disappear." And then it did. Right before our eyes, the fence vanished. Gone. Johnny's face went white as a sheet. "Did you see that?" he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. I had, and the fear, cold and sharp, began to take root. I was home alone. A storm raged outside, rain lashing at the windows. A sudden movement outside caught my eye. A figure stood in the driveway. Patrick. I froze, heart pounding. He just stood there, the whites of his eyes glowing in the darkness. I locked the doors, double-checked them. He didn't move. The next morning he was gone, but some of my things were missing. Small items, insignificant, a chilling reminder that he had been there, watching. And Section 5, Trapped. Years later, I was living in Denver. The city had always been a place of new beginnings for me, a fresh start, away from the shadows of my past. The bustling streets, the towering buildings, and the serene parks offered a sense of normalcy I had longed for, but little did I know, the past has a way of catching up no matter how far you run. One winter evening, a blizzard raged, blanketing the city in white. The snow fell relentlessly, turning the familiar streets into a treacherous maze. The wind howled and visibility was almost zero. It was the kind of night where you just wanted to be home, safe and warm, but fate had other plans for me. Driving home, I saw a car seemingly stuck by the side of the road. The headlights were on, cutting through the thick snow, but the vehicle wasn't moving. I slowed down, honked, hoping to offer some assistance. The storm was too fierce for anyone to be stranded alone. A figure emerged from the car. The snow swirled around him, making it hard to see clearly. He was bundled up in heavy winter clothing, but there was something about his posture, the way he moved, that seemed eerily familiar. He was bundled up, but something about him seemed familiar. The way he moved, it triggered a memory, a sense of déjà vu that sent chills down my spine. I squinted, trying to get a better look, but the snow was too thick, the glint in his eyes. Patrick! Panic surged through me. I didn't wait. My heart raced as I recognized the glint in his eyes. It was Patrick. Memories of our last encounter flooded back and fear gripped me. I knew I had to get out of there. I slammed my foot on the gas and didn't look back. The tires spun for a moment before gaining traction, and I sped off into the blizzard, my heart pounding in my chest. The rearview mirror showed nothing but swirling snow, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The next day, the news reported a carjacking in the same area. The details were chillingly similar to my encounter. A lone driver, a stranded car, and a mysterious figure. It was as if the universe was confirming my worst fears. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had narrowly escaped. The thought of what could have happened kept me up at night. Every sound, every shadow seemed amplified, and I found myself constantly looking over my shoulder. Denver no longer felt like the safe haven it once was. The past had caught up with me, and I was trapped in a web of fear and uncertainty. Section 6, Seeking Solace, Finding Shadows. In the quiet, dimly lit room, the air was thick with unspoken words and hidden fears. The therapist's office, a place meant for solace, felt more like a chamber of secrets. Shadows danced on the walls, cast by the single light source, creating an eerie atmosphere that mirrored my inner turmoil. The nightmares started soon after my first session, disturbing, vivid dreams that left me drenched in sweat and gasping for breath. Each night, the scenes grew more intense, more terrifying. I would wake up, heart pounding, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Patrick was always there, lurking in the shadows of my dreams. His presence was a constant, a dark figure that seemed to feed off my fear. No matter where I turned, he was there, watching, waiting. Desperate for answers, I confided in my Uncle Joseph, a therapist with years of experience. I hoped his wisdom and knowledge could help me make sense of the chaos in my mind. He listened intently, his face a mask of concern. I poured out my heart, sharing every detail of my nightmares and the haunting presence of Patrick. I hoped he could offer some insight, some explanation that would bring me peace. For a moment, I felt a glimmer of hope, but his reaction was not what I expected. Instead of reassurance, I was met with skepticism. His expression turned stern, almost dismissive. He shook his head as if my fears were nothing more than childish fantasies. His eyes, once warm and understanding, now seemed cold and calculating. There was a hardness in his gaze that sent a chill down my spine. It was as if he was analyzing me, not as a patient but as a subject. He suggested strange treatments, unconventional methods that made my skin crawl. Hypnosis, sensory deprivation, techniques that seemed more like torture than therapy. I felt a growing unease, a sense that something was terribly wrong. One day, while searching for a book in his office, I stumbled upon his satchel. It was an old, worn leather bag that seemed out of place among his professional belongings. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. Inside, I found disturbing drawings, articles about mind control, and notes on experiments on people. My blood ran cold as I realized the implications. These were not the notes of a healer, but of someone obsessed with control and manipulation. Was my own uncle experimenting on me? The thought was too horrifying to comprehend. Fear and betrayal washed over me as I questioned everything I'd ever known about him. The shadows in my dreams now seemed all too real, and the solace I sought felt further away than ever. Section 7, Whispers in the Dark. The nightmares intensified. Whispers followed me. Shadows seemed to move on their own. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, manipulated. But by whom? Patrick, my own uncle, or were they connected somehow? The line between reality and nightmare blurred. I questioned my own sanity. Was I losing my mind, or was something far more sinister at play? Section 8. Pieces of the puzzle. The pieces started to fall into place. The strange occurrences, the unsettling encounters, the feeling of being watched. It wasn't just a series of coincidences. Something connected them all. But what? Was Patrick a pawn in a larger game? Was my uncle the mastermind? Or was there something even darker, more sinister at work? The truth, I feared, was more terrifying than anything I could have imagined. Section 9. The lingering dread. Years have passed since that fateful night when everything changed. The memories of that time are etched deeply into my mind, refusing to fade away with the passage of time. The house, once filled with laughter and warmth, now stands as a silent witness to the horrors that unfolded within its walls. Patrick and my uncle are gone, vanished without a trace. But the fear remains. It's a fear that has taken root deep within me, growing stronger with each passing day. The empty chairs in the living room are a constant reminder of their absence, and the missing person posters on the wall serve as a haunting testament to the mystery that still surrounds their disappearance. A constant companion, lurking in the shadows of my mind. The silhouette of a person standing in the dark hallway and the eerie shadows on the wall, they all seem to come alive at night, feeding my paranoia and keeping me on edge. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind sends a shiver down my spine. I still jump at shadows, my heart racing with a fear that I can't quite explain. The quick movements in the shadows, the dimly lit room with its ever-shifting darkness, they all play tricks on my mind, making me question what is real and what is just a figment of my imagination. I still feel a chill down my spine when I think of them. The goosebumps on my skin are a physical manifestation of the fear that grips me, a fear that has become a part of my very being. The eerie nighttime scenes that once held a certain beauty now only serve to remind me of the darkness that has taken over my life. The scars they left run deep, not just the physical scars, but the emotional, ones as well. The old photograph, with its torn edge, is a symbol of the life that was shattered, the dreams that were left unfulfilled. The empty, dark room with its single piece of old furniture is a stark reminder of the emptiness that now fills my heart. The experience has changed me. I am no longer the person I once was. The reflection of my troubled face in the mirror is a constant reminder of the pain and suffering I have endured. The empty, desolate landscape mirrors the emptiness I feel inside, a void that can never be filled. Shaken me to my core, the fear in my eyes, the way I sit alone in the dark room with my head in my hands, the shadow of my trembling figure. They all tell the story of a person who has been pushed to the brink, who has faced unimaginable horrors and come out the other side forever changed. I am no longer the naive girl I once was. The old photograph, the young woman standing alone in the dark forest, they are all symbols of the innocence that was lost, the person I used to be before the darkness took over. The split image of the young girl and the older woman is a stark reminder of the passage of time and the changes that have come with it. I am haunted by the unsettling presence that invaded my life, a presence that refuses to let go. The ghostly figure in the background of the dark room, the way I look out the window at night, the unsettling shadows on the wall, they all serve as constant reminders of the terror that still lingers, and the terrifying truth that some things cannot be explained. The flickering light in the dark hallway, the mysterious, unexplainable phenomena, the eerie, foggy landscape, they all point to a reality that is beyond our understanding, a reality that is filled with unknown horrors. Some things are better left buried. The old abandoned graveyard, the act of burying something at night, the forgotten dusty attic, they all symbolize the secrets that are best left undisturbed, the truths that are too painful to confront, but the fear lingers. It is a constant presence, a shadow that follows me wherever I go. The way I look fearfully into the darkness, the lingering shadows in the dimly lit room, the close-up of my fearful expression, they all tell the story of a person who has been forever changed by the horrors they have faced, a person who will never be the same again.